Hello, everybody. Tucker Kelley, 16 Megan's Road, Rockaway, New Jersey. Dr. Tosbacini, I just want to congratulate you on your promotion to Chief of the Sheriff's Department. Another promotion well deserved.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I just want to give you just a little bit of information before I go into my concern and my question perhaps the board can answer. I am a taxpayer. I'm a resident all of my life of 55 years in Rockaway Township. I do have a child in the district here, K through 8, that also did attend KDM school. I also attended all of the school systems in Rockaway Township, all the way up into Marsh Knolls, half hills, but Birchwood is where I went. And each of my educators that I had from kindergarten all the way up into 6th grade, as well as my principals, vice principals, my gym teachers, my music teachers, as well as my math teachers, were very influential into where I'm at today. All of them had dedicated all of their time to us as students, and most of the time we've had more interactions with our teachers throughout that period of time when we were in school than we were with our own parents. So they were heavily influencing us as children. So recently, many of you know, and I know there's been a lot of communication, as is mentioned in this agenda on part 1 of communications, of a specific teacher. I know that you can't say names, but I can, and that's Elizabeth Clark, who is our 5th grade teacher for math and social studies. What I witnessed that took place through social media and news outlets of Charlie Kirk getting assassinated was the most uncomfortable thing to see. It was unbelievable, not to mention we had 2 other lives that were lost in the northern portion of Rockaway Township of the same day that were affected. I remember when my mother and I had a communications roughly 25 years ago. My mother graduated Dover High School in '63. She had just lost her father. She just turned 18 in the beginning of November, only to witness JFK getting assassinated. And then 5 years later, Martin Luther King got assassinated in April of '68. And the devastation that she had mentioned to me, I couldn't feel it because I'd never experienced it until recently on the 10th of September, what we had saw. But more interesting was we had a teacher that glorified the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man that left behind a wife and 2 children, 2 young children. Many of you can relate. I would say all of you can relate to this. It's horrible. And then after those comments, that same teacher was defending those words, saying the First Amendment right, it's okay that I can say it, but not anybody else, or vice versa. And then that same teacher later on said, wait, my account was hacked. Meanwhile, not realizing that the other posts were still up before she could delete them. That's sick. We have a member of our school, an educator, that actually was glorifying an assassination of a young male with a wife and 2 children left behind. To add on to that, moreover, that same person is actually endorsing Tyler Robinson, who planned for a week to murder a public figure. That is also sick, and it goes together. What I don't see, though, is this board or the district putting anything out saying we do not represent any of those comments that were made or allegedly made by this particular individual. You guys have a policy number 3282. Specifically under personal social media, number 5, you cannot promote violence. You cannot support violence. You were sued for over $9 million of a settlement because of violence and what it turned out happened to that person. This policy that you guys have been in effect since 2013, revised in 2019 and 2020. I believe all the educators and staff have to sign some type of contract and agreement that they're going to follow the rules and procedures of these policies that are in place. And you guys are going to enforce them. If you don't, then what's the sense of having them? But this is where the problem starts, though. Because if there's one student, like I was when I was in school, so many educators I looked up to, looks up to that same teacher and says, wow, you know what, I have those thoughts and maybe I'll carry something out. That could take place. We hope that it doesn't, but it could, and it has in other areas of the state and different parts of the nation, I'm saying, in different states. So I look at all of you, and most of you, some of you are looking down, none of them are looking at me directly. Many of you are taking notes. and Dr. Charles Messina, I know you take this very seriously, especially in the position that you're at. This has got to stop. Whether it's woke policies or if it's these individuals that are acting reckless and providing rhetoric and inciting people to do this and glorifying that, that's a problem. And if you don't address it immediately and you don't let the taxpayers and the parents and residents and others know about your position on this, that you go against this, things have been taking place, pending an investigation, maybe something will happen, it really needs to start now. Because it seems that we're losing religion and replacing it with politics. And that's not what we want to do, because there's just too much hate going on in the world right now. So I hope that this board, and I know you're limited to what you can comment, but what are your thoughts about people glorifying violence like that within our community?
So I'm going to look left to our attorney. Ultimately, with this here, I believe that there's no comment that I can bring back.
Yes, correct. This is a public comment. It's not a public question answer. I'm sorry. I'm going to direct the board or recommend that the board not respond.
And I appreciate that. And then, and I'm sorry, I don't get your name.
My name is Jacqueline Morjese.
Marduzzi?
Morjese.
Marchese. Yes. And Mrs. Marchese, I respect that, but there was no statute, there was no policy that bars any of the members of the board, or as well as you, to respond to those questions. We're accurate to say that, right?
There are rights and related to the personnel rights that are being discussed, that if the board discusses those publicly, they would be in violation of those confidentiality laws and the privileges related to those statutes.
Has the individual been riced?
I'm not at liberty to discuss a
Okay, but I mean, that's
matter.
public information. A rice notice that was provided to an employee is public record that you could say, yes, the person's been riced or not been riced?
Whether or not it's public record is not an issue here. I'm sorry.
Okay, then outside of the individual itself, in general, do any of these board members here, are you happy that there was an assassination that took place? Do you glorify that someone was assassinated?
So, Mr. Kelley, with this one, and obviously I wanted you to be heard. That's truth. I wanted you to be heard with all of this stuff, and we've extended the time on this to make sure that you could be heard with all of that. With the entire board here, you see where we are as far as none of us here condone violence at the end of the day.
Okay.
But we're bound by what our abilities are based upon our positions as board members. So where we sit with this, and I know you're trying to get to certain answers, but at the current time, I appreciate your comment, everything that you brought forward. You make some valid points, and it's been received by the board, and I thank you.
And then just lastly, I hope that you can put out some notice that the board is doing something, because don't forget, this comment from this person is painting the entire district with a horrible brush. And you got some great educators here, great professionals that work with this board and with the public and the teachers and the students. I just want to recognize that before I leave. But thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Kelley.